What's up, guys? Label Lifts here. Episode 1 of the road to getting shredded. In this video, we're going to cover my exact game plan for cutting season. If you've been following my videos, I just finished up with a bulk where I got up to about 188 pounds. I was eating 2,900 calories to do this in order to fuel that muscle growth, and I've been seeing consistent gains in my size and strength. All of my lifts have improved, my bench, my squat, my deadlift, and I've been seeing pretty good results overall. So this is what I look like currently. As you can see, I'm filling out my shirt pretty well. You know, the guns are hugging the sleeves and everything is fitting tight. But the only negative with that is when you put on size and strength and are eating at a calorie surplus, you're gonna put on a little bit of body fat. So I'm not looking as lean as I would like, especially for beach season. That's why for the next 8 weeks, I'm gonna be doing this cut. The reason I'm only doing 8 weeks is because I haven't put on too much body fat and I'm still relatively lean. And in the past, I've done longer cuts like 16 or 12 weeks when I put on excess body fat and I was looking super soft. I'm gonna start off my cut with a 400 calorie deficit, which will put me at 2,500 calories. That's just under about a pound of fat loss per week. The reason you don't want to go too extreme and have a huge calorie deficit right away is your body will eventually plateau after a certain amount of time and you'll have no more calories to drop down from. And plus, you'll also feel like death and probably won't make it through the entire cut. So I made this mistake in the past, and trust me, it is not a good time. A better strategy is to start off with a modest calorie deficit, such as 400, and go ahead and weigh yourself every week. If you notice that you keep losing weight, perfect, no problem, no need to cut your calories back any further. But say you start to plateau and you're not losing any more weight, then you can go ahead and cut your calories back even further, say 100 or 200 calories. Then repeat the process, keep weighing yourself until you are no longer losing weight, and then cut your calories back even further. Now moving on to macronutrients, we have protein. So protein recommendations are anywhere from 0.8 grams to 1 gram per pound of body weight when you're bulking up or trying to put on muscle. But in regards to a cut, I've noticed it's best to be on that higher end of the spectrum, the 1 gram per pound of body weight. So I'm going to be eating 188 grams of protein per day. There's 2 reasons for this. The first is that protein is satiating, so you'll stay full for a longer period of time. And the second is that when you enter a calorie deficit, your body enters survival mode and it's going to try to pull energy from everywhere it can, including your muscles. This higher protein intake will help preserve that muscle that you work so hard to get over the off season.
A few moments later.
And just like that, the sun has set on another day. Anyways, moving on to the next macronutrient, fat. For my cut, I'm going to be eating 55 grams of fat to start. The reason for this is that fat is the most calorically dense macronutrient. For every 1 gram of fat, there's 9 calories. So I don't want to start with a high fat intake because that would use up all my calories and I would not be able to eat that much throughout the day. Consuming fats is also essential when dieting because they're responsible for normal human processes such as hormone production, like testosterone, which plays a key role in building muscle. And yes, both men and women produce testosterone, women to a much less extent, but still do nonetheless. And finally, for the last macronutrient, we're moving on to carbohydrates. I'm going to be consuming 313 grams of carbs every single day, which will ensure maximal gym performance, as carbohydrates are the body's main fuel source. Some of you guys might be thinking, oh, that's kind of a high carb intake, especially for a diet, but you'll see I specifically set it up this way so that as my diet progresses and say I run into a plateau and I can't cut my calories any further, I'm able to manipulate my macronutrients, such as slowly lowering my carbs and slightly raising up my fats in order to keep the fat burning going. Key thing to take away from this, guys, is that these macros and this calorie intake is specific to me, so my height, my weight, and my activity level. When I'm training my clients, I also do the same thing for them, but I tailor it to their specific needs. So next, we're going to move on to cardio. Cardio has a whole host of benefits that I've covered in other videos, but in regards to a strictly dieting capacity, you can think of it as negative calories, because the more you move, the more calories you're gonna burn. When it comes to my cut, I start off with low intensity, steady state cardio, which is cardio in which you can perform while still having a conversation. So if you're walking on the treadmill or walking and you still can talk to the person next to you without gasping for breath, that is considered low intensity, steady state cardio. I have this nifty fit tracker watch which takes account my steps, calories burned, and time of total activity level. While a lot of these watches do have like a calorie counter, take that with a massive grain of salt because they're all slightly different. Instead, a better strategy is to use the activity meter, or it's tracking how long you've been active. So I like to start with about 30 minutes, and as the diet progresses, I slowly increase that activity to burn more calories. That way, with a higher activity level, I get to eat more food rather than cutting back my calories even further. So it's a nice trade-off. You don't need a nifty activity watch in order to track this. You can do it yourself by just setting a timer on your phone for 30 minutes and then slowly bumping up that activity level. 45 minutes, 60 minutes, and adjust accordingly so you can continue to see fat loss results. I'm gonna have a whole separate video on cardio and the different forms of cardio that I do so that it doesn't get stale and boring for me. And that way I can get extra steps in even when I'm not in like a typical gym setting. Moving on to the final part of the game plan, it's my training split. I'm still gonna be following a 4-day split, including 2 upper body days and 2 lower body days. This way I'll be hitting all the major muscle groups 2 times per week, which is optimal for when you're trying to both grow muscle as well as maintain it in a calorie deficit. Which leads me to my next point. A lot of times people think that when you're dieting or in order to get like ripped and shredded, you need to change up your training style and do high reps, low weight, which is one of the worst myths I've ever heard in my entire life. And I've been hearing it since I was a little kid. It is a really bad myth. You still want to train the same, because think about it. If you guys have been training so hard to build this muscle, your body needs a reason to keep it. Thus, you want to push and train as hard as you possibly can. Yes, as the diet progresses and you're running low on calories, you're gonna run out of energy or like have lower energy levels, but you still want to press hard and give your body that reason to keep that muscle. So that means lifting in the 6 to 12 rep range with high intensity or high weight. One modification I am going to be making is I'm no longer going to be doing my ab session at the end of a lifting day. What I will do is give it its own separate day, as well as throw in some accessory work such as forearms. Not gonna lie, full transparency here. After an intense lifting session, the last thing I want to go do is a 20-minute ab session. So I feel like I become super lazy with it and give a half-hearted attempt. So I'm not really getting the full benefits of the exercise. Well, it looks like one of my sons decided to come into the shot. Well, you're gonna be on camera now, buddy. This is Dean, the coolest cat in town. I also have another one, but say hi to the camera, Dean. Like I said, I've never done it this way, but I think I'm gonna really like it since I'll be able to give my 100% focus to training abs, as well as getting some forearm work in as well. Just like the cardio video, be on the lookout for a more in-depth video where I show my current upper body and lower body split, detailing what exercises I do, as well as little tips here and there to get the most out of the exercise. And that's my game plan in a nutshell, guys. So for the next 8 weeks, I'm gonna be taking you guys on my journey to getting shredded. The reason I picked this topic to be episode 1 is because I'm a firm believer that in life, you wanna have a game plan for no matter what you do. Whether that be moving up in school, moving up in your career, or following a fitness program. And that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I hope this video showed you how I set up my game plan in order to prepare for my cutting season. As always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. This is Leva Lifts, signing out. Have a good one, guys.